And we're live.
Hi everyone.
Hey everybody.
Oh, hello.
We're just gonna get right into this because I don't
Perfect.
have the voice to vamp right now. So every time my voice cracks, take a shot.
There's so much to talk about though.
There is, and you guys are going to be doing most of it. So,
Good.
hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan,
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
and I love that we're starting off the show with Ryan frozen on his screen
Wait,
already.
already?
Yeah, I think it's my computer. I don't think it's on your end. So hopefully you'll unfreeze here soon. Um, but yeah, today we advertise this as a double feature, but today we're doing a triple feature of the Addams Family. We're talking about 1991's The Addams Family, its sequel, The Addams Family Values, and the 2019 animated reboot, The Addams Family. Devin and I both decided to just watch the animated one, and then Ryan was dragged along with us on that. So,
Pretty much.
so we're gonna get into that here shortly. But before we get into that, Devin, I hear you watched some stuff.
I watched a few things. I watched quite a few things. The first thing I watched is it's a new show on Netflix. It's called Midnight Mass. Have you guys heard of this?
Yes, it's from the creator of Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor, and
Yeah, that is what drew me into it because I like those a lot. And they were like, finally, he's not doing an adaptation. He's doing his own thing. It's fine. I'm 2 episodes in. I want to, if you guys are interested at all in it, I know Ryan, I know that Haunting of Hill House didn't go over super well in your household, but it was like one of my favorite shows when it came out. It it reminds me very much of, do you guys remember when we were really into the Stephen King show? I think it's called The Outsider.
Yeah.
yeah.
It reminds me of that,
Oh,
where
so
yeah.
you think it's gonna have a bad ending?
Maybe, really maybe. So the way that the episodes are structured is that it will begin with an intriguing thing. It'll be 55 minutes of character buildup, plus like a sprinkle of creepy things, and then it'll end on a cliffhanger that makes you go, dang it, I guess I gotta watch the next episode. Just like that The Outsider was. I don't know where it's going. I think it's going to be, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but I think it's going to be more similar to The Outsider than not. Then I think it'll be more similar to Outsider than Hill House. I'm curious to see where it goes. I'll give you an update next week on what I thought about it, like overall, and if it's worth watching. But for now, it's intriguing enough and it's well acted enough, and it's paced well enough, and the camera work is great.
Okay. Yeah, I'm intrigued about this because the one actor, I forget what his name was. He was also on iZombie, but he just co-hosted Black Man Beyond with Mark Bernardin the other week.
Oh, did
And
he?
they were talking about this, so I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah.
I like Mike Flanagan a bit. I still haven't watched Hill House or Bly Manor for that matter. But I'm intrigued by this one.
Yeah. Here's the
So-
thing I like about it, and
Okay.
Hill House did this well, where it's horror, but it doesn't rely on jump scares and gross things. Like, and it's not necessarily shock horror or body horror. It's more like creepy, atmospheric, and then like, did I see something in the corner of my eye? Like, my favorite part about Hill House is that throughout every shot, there are ghosts hidden in the background of
Mhm.
each shot, and it takes you a while to notice them unless some jerk like me points them out to you. In this one, they don't have anything really hidden in the background of shots, but there's something going on, and you just keep seeing eyes in places. So like someone will be like looking out the window and it'll look fine, but then you'll see like these two dots that could have been like lights in the distance shift a little bit, and you're like, oh, those are eyes and stuff like that. And like that's the kind of horror that I like, is it like kind of slow creeping horror, not the jump scare, but the what did I just see? Like, as an audience member, I think that's awesome.
Ryan, you are still frozen.
I am? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently it looks funny. I don't see it. You're
Yeah.
a spinning thing for me.
So
But
maybe it's not on my end. Okay. Well, that's
Eh,
fun. If
that's all
nothing,
right.
Whatever.
at least you're looking at your on screen. So
exactly.
for our audio listeners, no one cares. Um,
Thanks, guys.
um, Okay, cool. So that's on Netflix. I watched a thing, and from the pre-show chat, it sounds like we all watched a thing. We all evidently watched just the first 3 episodes of Star Wars Visions.
Yeah.
I don't know how we planned that out, but yeah, we all only saw the first 3 episodes.
We're all so in sync.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
So, hold on. What did you guys think?
I really enjoyed 2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
Which one didn't you enjoy?
The Tatooine Rhapsody one was kind of weird for me. It wasn't my favorite of the 3. I really loved the first one, which name's escaping me right now.
Yeah, the black and white one.
Yeah, the black and white, the one that is pretty much just doing Kurosawa as Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like it's come full circle. Like we did our episode on the Hidden Fortress, and then like Star Wars is now doing the Hidden Fortress as Star Wars. Like it was just really cool to see that, and I enjoyed that story.
I actually did really like the Tatooine Rhapsody one. Which, by the way, you spoiled something that I know somebody in chat doesn't know. The lead singer of that, or the main voice actor of the Tatooine Rhapsody episode, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Didn't know that. That's really cool. But I really liked that one too, just because I feel like a lot of these episodes are going to be very, very Jedi heavy and very kind of lightsaber fight heavy. And this was the first one where they're like, "We just want to be singers. Like I don't want to be a Jedi. I could have been, but I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I just want to sing." And that was cool. I want show me the guy that cleans bantha poop, like along Tatooine. Show me his life. I want to see that in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, and I really like the first one.
The duel.
The duel. I did kind of have that's just too silly moment, and that's when the body shell of the AT-AT comes driving down like the lane in the center of town, and it was like just small enough to fit down the road. Like it was a little silly looking, but other than that, I absolutely loved that one. I actually really liked the Rhapsody one. I saw the title on the screen when I was watching it, but I didn't even read it, so I had no idea that it was actually Rhapsody. Like I was like, "Oh, okay, that's the title," and then I just kind of waited for the actual thing to start.
Yeah.
I like the concept of it. The artistry is a little modern for my taste, but it's whatever. But I kind of stopped paying attention through the third one.
Oh, was that the twins one?
The twins one, like. As soon as he got, I'm just gonna say it. As soon as they were both standing on the outside of the twin Death Star cannon setup thing, I lost interest.
I think it was because the whole premise of that one was, let's just do a lightsaber fight. There was almost no build-up, almost no character. It was, let's just do a lightsaber fight. And I gotta tell you, I'm not usually nitpicky about this nonsense, right? They should have been wearing space helmets.
Yeah.
And it bugged me and it wouldn't have bugged me because I was like, okay, fine. In this rendition of Star Wars, they could just breathe in space. That's fine. The robot at the end was wearing a freaking space helmet.
Yeah.
That's what killed me. The one that didn't need it.
Yeah, like that was distracting for me in the twins. The other thing that was distracting was just I kept picturing Allison Brie and Neil Patrick Harris.
See, I didn't know that's who that was, and I love that.
Also, Ryan, I unfroze your video. I figured it out. You're unfrozen.
Cool. Nice.
Wow, very cool.
So no more picking your nose.
Yeah, there we go. So my thing with the way that the twins looked, the only non-mainstream anime that I'm a really big fan of is Neon Genesis.
Sure.
And I'm probably butchering the name, but when her helmet came off, she looks exactly like the one character from that anime.
Oh wow.
Which I mean, all of these are set up to look that way. to begin with, like that animation style. But it was just really funny. Like her helmet came off, and I'm like, oh, it's the German character from German character from Neon Genesis. This is kind of cool. Where's her giant robot suit?
So I asked this question to Romana while we were watching it. Of any of the three that you've watched, would you guys watch a continuation? Maybe we'll call it a limited series of any of the three that you watched.
Of the Duel, yes.
The Duel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am hands down on the Duel. I think I would even watch a continuation of Tatooine Rhapsody. I definitely wouldn't watch the twins.
I'd want an album from Rhapsody, because I mean that's like mainstream generic pop punk like rock music.
Yeah.
And that's just good background music. Like that to me is just good background, just I gotta do some chores, put on some background music. That to me sounds like good, background music. I kind of want a bit more realistic lyrics though than just like Will Smith rap lyrics.
But that's kind of what it was. I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys do you guys think they'll make any of these canon? I heard that they're not canon yet. And then there was like the emphasis on the, the wink yet kind of thing. Like, would you guys see any of these be canon?
I mean, out of the ones we saw so far, I doubt it. But that's what's great about Star Wars and this idea of visions is you can let these different storytellers tell their own stories, and it doesn't have to stick to canon. Like if they want to do a thing about two Sith Lords who are related and then one decides to go to the light side, they can do that and not have to worry about the canon of, well, between Darth Plagueis and Darth Vader, there was only Darth Sidious. Like you don't have to worry about all of that stuff.
Fit in?
Yeah. I think if they can maybe like do subtle hints to it down the line, I think that'd be cool. I don't think it needs to be, I don't think all of this needs to be canon. Although I do like to think that the Tatooine Rhapsody one is, and like that there was that one time where Boba Fett went to a rock concert where Anakin won the pod race.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that idea a lot too.
Same here.
I mean, I hope that's just a whole episode of the Book of Boba Fett. So.
I did also like the design of like the lightsaber microphone, and I liked what that like represented, like his old life versus his new life. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I was seriously waiting for the lightsaber to trigger on like right at the end when he was singing the note, because like it started to glow. I'm like, oh no, it's gonna turn on. It's gonna go right through his head.
Oh, that would have been funny.
All right. I think that's about all we have for We Watch This, the segment of the show.
Yeah.
So let's get right into today's main topic in the best way possible. Ba-da-da-da. Yeah,
hey, we actually
I don't know if I was in sync. Whatever.
I'll fix it in post. But today we're talking about the Addams Family. We're starting off our triple feature with the 1991 film The Addams Family, starring Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, Christopher Lloyd, and Christina Ricci. And I'm going to toss it over to Ryan because I'm talking a lot and I don't like it.
Thank you, Alan. You definitely need to rest up your voice there a little bit. So the director to 1 and 2, if I believe, is Barry we did this before the start of the show. No, Sonnenfeld. Thank you. We must have redone that name like 5 times. But anyway, these movies are based off of a TV show from the early 60s called The Addams Family. And then that show was based off a comic strip that was around in the 30s and 40s, I believe. So we're definitely going to be deep diving into different aspects of different things here. The first movie, made in 1991, is just titled The Addams Family. It's just a introduction to what I consider to be the modern Addams Family. I cannot remember a time where I didn't know about this movie since it came out when I was like 6.
Mm-hmm.
So probably saw it for the first time around 6 or 7. And it was just a staple movie in my family to watch. And then when the second one came out in 93, I watched both of these evenly. In fact, Kristen and I own a DVD copy that has both of them on it. So we typically watch them back to back, kind of like Wayne's World.
Good.
I wouldn't put this in one of my top 10 favorite movies ever, but definitely within like the top 50.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these films are. And I like the humor that's in it. So given all of that, it surprised me that neither one of you two had seen either one of these yet.
I have seen bits and pieces of these, but I've never sat down and watched both of these live action films front to back.
Okay.
I remember seeing the third made for TV one at one point, and not understanding why it was made for TV. And we'll get into that later. But yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of these. My wife likes them both. But I've never sat down and watched the whole thing front to back. So,
okay. And Devin, what can I get an explanation from you as to why you've never seen these yet?
I have a slight confession to make. All right. So first, I knew that Addams Family was a cartoon series in the early 90s. I've seen that.
Yeah.
I think in my mind, what must have happened in my mind is Addams Family is a cartoon show. Don't you dare make my cartoon show a live action show. Don't do that. It's cartoons. And I think that was probably my mentality. But I think my minor confession here, I think I've seen Addams Family Values before. Because I started watching it and went, at one point I was like, the baby's going to have a mustache. And then the baby had a mustache. I'm like, how did I know that? So I feel like I've seen it and just forgot that I saw it. It was a delight to watch a second time. I don't want to spoil too much. But apparently my sister had watched both of them without me at some point, and I'm mad about it because she didn't share.
Okay, so I think the first one came out before the cartoon did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was probably introduced to the cartoon way before.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's just funny to have in mind.
Here's a weird thing. I was introduced to Beetlejuice, the cartoon, before I even knew about the movie. So the 90s was the peak of animated series based on film properties, because you had Beetlejuice, you had Batman, you had the Addams Family. There was a Free Willy animated series where the whale talked.
Ghostbusters,
Ace Ventura,
The Mask.
Gross. 90s. What were you doing?
Godzilla.
It was the 90s. Yeah. So
man.
Okay, so whoever wants to go first, what did you guys think seeing the first one all the way through?
Okay. My immediate thoughts were, I've seen this movie before, and it was called A Very Brady Sequel. Because the whole we're gonna plant him into the family to pretend to be this this long lost family member is the exact plot of the Very Brady Sequel, the 90s sequel to the Brady Bunch movie, where they have Mrs. Brady's ex-husband, the father of all the girls, come back and try to con them out of all their money.
Weird.
So I don't know why that was a plot thread in the 90s for Paramount, because that's also a Paramount picture. It's weird. But that was my immediate thought. This was okay. I didn't know about the whole Fester not being Fester plot of this movie. Who's mowing their grass at 6:30 at night? Can you guys hear that?
No.
Oh,
I didn't hear that, no, but I love that.
I'm hoping my mic's not picking it up, but I can hear it. And it's why? Yeah, I didn't know that was a whole subplot of this movie. Because I don't think I've seen this movie at all. I've seen bits and pieces of Addams Family Values, but this one I had no clue that was the plot.
Okay.
So I don't think I've seen this one even a little bit, and I've definitely never seen any of the Brady Bunch movies. I think I know there's one where they go to Hawaii and there's an idol or something. They make fun of scrubs.
That's the same one.
Oh, yeah. Then that's the only one that I even am vaguely aware of. But I loved this movie. I didn't know that Christopher Lloyd's character wasn't not Fester, and so the whole movie I was like, "You Fester?" I bet he's. How did he know that thing? I bet he's Fester. It's like I was along for the ride the whole time, which made me feel dumb because I feel like that should have been very obvious, but I don't care. I was on board for it. I need to watch this movie again because some of the one-liners go so fast and are so well written that like I need to watch it again. I love the humor in this.
This one was okay. I think what you're talking about, I picked up more in Addams Family Values.
Okay, so what character did you pick it up on?
All of them. So
all of them.
What I could see happening is this is a solid film, like on its own, and I think it's a great introduction to all of these characters and these interpretations of these characters. I think everyone in this cast is phenomenal. But you don't really get Christopher Lloyd playing Fester. Like he's not Fester. He's like an imposter this whole movie, but Wednesday is spot on. Raul Julia as Gomez and Angelica Houston as Morticia. Like their characters are fantastic in this, and you get a great introduction to these characters. By the time you get to Addams Family Values, I think everyone is just like working their best, and the script is so much more solid. And the lines, those one-liners are there because in the first 5 minutes of Addams Family Values, I laughed out loud more than I did in this whole film.
I love to hear that. Yeah. I really do.
Morticia has a lot of the one-liners in the first one.
Yeah.
Morticia is my favorite character in both films.
It's the way that I see it is that the first one, it's Morticia's movie. Like that's kind of how, like after seeing it the 100+ times I've seen this movie probably, it's definitely Morticia's movie in my mind. And then I feel like, and I know this isn't how it happened, but I like to pretend this is how it happened. Mm-hmm. I feel like there was like a cast reunion like a year later. Yeah. And Christina Ricci was like so good at playing Wednesday at that point. Everybody came together and said, we have to do a second one. Look at her. She's so good at this character. We need to have her have more lines. And then they made the second one. And then the second one is Wednesday's movie.
So
no, I see that.
So I think the reason they made the second one is they had a budget of $30 million. It went on to gross $191 million.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Holy cow.
And in 30 years ago money, that's still a lot. So,
yeah. So from the sounds of it, both of you enjoyed the first one, seeing it for the, all the way through for the first time.
I enjoyed it. I wasn't a big fan of the whole, he's not really Fester storyline, but it is what it is.
Yeah. But then he is.
Yeah. And like for the effects in this one held up okay. I think I've got some stuff to say about the effects in Addams Family Values a bit more.
I mean, in this one, a few shots of it look a little bit, not it, was it Thing? Look a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple times you can see like the blue around the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Particularly at the beginning when he's walking through the hallway and the camera pulls back and he's at Gomez's feet. Like, it just seems like the hand is floating, not that the hand's on the floor. Like, so, I mean, it's 1991. They had their budget that they did. But yeah, the one-liners in the first one. And prior to moving to the second one, because this is the only way that I can think of splitting this up is talking about each one individually.
Yeah.
In the first one, what was your guys' favorite moment?
I know.
Can think of at the spot.
No, I got it right away. This is the part I had to pause and watch again because I liked it so much. It was when they were visiting Wednesday's school, just before the play or the musical that they do, and I mean, all of it. It's all of it now. But they were in the hallway, and the teacher was like, "Well, I'm really concerned about Wednesday's hero or heroine that she picked." And it was like her great aunt, whatever, that was like burned as a witch. And Morticia goes, "Don't worry, we've talked to her about it. Not until after college." Oh, I love it. And like that, and then like it goes immediately to like them with a Quentin Tarantino amounts of blood. And then they just like do bows with it, and it's still going. Oh, Perfect. Give me more of that.
I like the what was it? Mamushka?
Muska.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that whole sequence. I just like Raul Julia stole, like you said that this was Morticia's movie. Gomez in this though, like he steals
he's
the movie
amazing.
for me. He's
Yeah,
fantastic. Like Gone Too Soon. And we'll get into that, but like he like just his interaction with Morticia and Fester, I think, are fantastic. But yeah, I really enjoyed his performance and like that whole dance number. Because you sent me the meme that we posted before I got to that scene. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was hoping that you would really like that one, Alan, because of the whole like music thing. Mm-hmm. And to let you know too, you might actually be disappointed in this. That's actually cut down. There's actually a whole number to that they cut because during test screenings, all of their test audience said that it slowed the movie down. So they cut it down to just what they showed. But if you get the soundtrack, you get the full song, not the edited version that's in the film.
I'm going to want to watch it. I'm going to want to at least listen to the full song.
Mm-hmm. Now, since both of you took my top two answers as well, which I was expecting, I have a backup. And my backup is when the fake doctor is getting Gomez to believe that he's having displacement issues.
Yeah.
It's like, he's vile, he's backstabbing, he's Fester.
My favorite line of this though is when the Girl Scout comes up to them.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, "Are the cookies made of real Girl Scouts?" That's a line that my wife will actually say to Girl Scouts selling cookies.
And they're probably way too young to get this, like to get the reference. Yeah. How does that go over?
Not well. Not as well as you think it would.
Love it.
So, to touch on that, and then we're going to jump to the second one, unless you guys have any other topic to talk about the first one. This movie has one of my like top 5 product placements in it, and it's when Lurch is drinking the lemonade, and right behind his shoulder is the giant tombstone.
Yes.
Billboard.
Yes.
And here's the thing. It's not that it's my favorite product placement as in it's so in your face. It's one of my favorite product placements because I miss that ad campaign. I miss the whole "what do you want on your tombstone" ad campaign, because I thought, I mean, even as a kid, that's kind of what made me want to go into graphic design and like the commercial art realm, and why I eventually sought out those classes was to do stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not doing that. And probably for the better. But
it fits so well in the movie though. Like,
yeah,
cool.
And it's the whole, Tombstone, Addams Family, the morbid joke to it. Like, it all works. And that's, just the feel of it. It was like, I really hope that somebody at the studio or somebody working on the movie was like, if we're going to have an ad, it needs to be this.
Yeah.
Just because it works so well. But unless you guys had anything else, we can jump to the jump to the second one then.
I got nothing.
I loved it.
Okay. So Addams Family Values came out in 1993. We already touched on a tiny bit of it. And I already gave my, experience with, with the first 2 movies we're going to be talking about. So what did you guys think of, Alan, your first time seeing it all the way through, and Devin, you realizing that it was stuck in the very basement of your mind that you'd seen them before?
I absolutely love this one. This one, as much as I enjoyed the first one, this one, like I said, this one had me laughing 5 minutes in. I thought the script was like so much stronger and the jokes hit better. And I think part of that was because the first one had about 5 or 6 different writers for the screenplay. This one had one. So it was a lot more solid. Like they brought in the guy who cleaned up the last draft of the script to come in and do this one. So it's a lot more straightforward. The jokes land for me. Carol Kane takes over the role as Granny, and they actually give her some stuff to do. And I was like, I think that's Carol Kane. And I was like, I had looked it up on IMDb. I was like, yep, that's Carol Kane. She's been playing the same character since 1980. But no, I really enjoy this one. I think I like the idea of Pugsley and Wednesday at summer camp with David Krumholtz. Bernard from the Santa Claus movies. No, I really enjoyed this one. And then Christopher Lloyd actually being able to be Fester this time, I think was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I basically reflect what Alan said. I love the first one. I like this one a lot better. I'll go back and watch both of them, I think, just in general, but I'll be more excited to rewatch this one, like by far.
Yeah.
Really for everything that Alan said, but also just for the random cameos that happen in this movie. Look, seriously, give me random Tony Shalhoub in any movie, and I am a happy guy.
Anything with random Nathan Lane is fantastic.
Yes. Oh man.
Who later went on to play Gomez Addams on Broadway.
In the Broadway show. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I only have one thing in my head right now. Like I had this whole thing about what to talk about, but I only have one thing in my mind right now, and it's a one-liner, and it's my favorite part of the second one. And it's when Debbie comes in, the nanny, the Black Widow, and looks at Gomez and says, "Well, aren't you a lady killer?" And he looks at her and he takes his cigar in his hand and he puts it forward and says, "Acquitted."
Yeah, right. That's good.
My one of the first lines that just got me was they're in the waiting room for the baby to be born, and this little girl's going off about how the stork brought a diamond, and then Wayne's just like, our parents had sex, like.
and this is what I meant by I know it's not how it happened, but I have this belief in my head that that somebody on the set saw Christina Ricci older by a year or two, saw her redoing the character, was like, we need to do another movie, she's this good at this. They give her a bunch of lines in this, and she as a kid she must have loved doing this, and I think she's even said that this was probably, I think, her favorite character that she's ever done.
I can see it. I mean, she knocked it out of the park with it, and they definitely made it more of her movie. I still think that Morticia's my favorite. Of all of these, Morticia has some of the best lines. But I could forgive you for all of that, but pastels. Right? Oh, my line in this one is oh, he has your father's eyes. Honey, get them out of his mouth. Come on. Yeah, I don't know. It's just so good.
Yeah, and that's what gets me into what I like about the Addams Family, about these movies particularly, is that there is a decent separation between the morbidness, the sense, the humor, and what's real in the realm of the supernatural and what's not.
Yeah.
And what they ground this in is that they're just people who have a very odd sense of living, and the kids are fascinated with death, and that's kind of the slapstick comedy thing, but they're normal people like you and I. They're just really morbid. All of them got into a goth phase in high school and then just deep dived on it instead of trailing back a little bit like most people do.
They never left.
Exactly. And that's what I like about these movies. And hence why I'm more of an Addams Family person than a Munsters person. Not sure if you guys watched any of that or know about that
I
one.
do.
I love the Munsters.
I do too.
Herman Munster is fantastic. The classic show. That's the one that I have the connection to the classic stuff. The one in the movie they made in the 90s is meh. But
they made
the
a
Munster
movie in the 90s. I only knew the classics.
They made like a made for TV movie. It wasn't. It was trying to make money off of this whole Addams Family craze.
Gross.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where the Munsters came from anyway, because they were competing in the 60s with the Addams Family. So that network made the Munsters.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's that, which we'll get into when we talk about the next one. But besides the one-liners, what did you guys think about the depiction of 90s life outside of the Addams Family that they did in this with Debbie and at the camp? Like that contrast between, you know, Gomez and Morticia standing there at the camp, and Gomez is there. He's there depressed, and he's like, the fresh air, the smell of pine. How did you guys like that contrast?
I mean, it works very well, and I think we're going to get into that here in a bit about like the lifestyle of the Addams versus modern day society, wherever they are. But now I enjoyed it. Like it seems like they don't seem too far fetched from reality in these films. Like it's not hard to picture them going to the grocery store and picking up stuff.
Yeah.
It's believable, and I like how they have that balance.
I think the one thing I did appreciate about them, especially in this movie, is it showed that, like, in general, the Addamses are just more accepting of differences than most of the people that they run into. And I liked that as seen through the lens of the camp and like the guidance counselors, specifically the camp, and like the play that they put on or the musical that they put on. Oh my gosh, some of the lines in that musical I was like just cringing at, and I was like, oh stop it. And I know you're supposed to, but like I don't know, what it was like, they might be savages but they have turkey or something. I'm like, oh. And like, good, that's take that, like give me Addams Family bumping up against those people. Like, that's what I want.
Yeah, and particularly with tiny little inside jokes, or not inside jokes, but like adult humor thrown in with Pugsley in the turkey costume going, "Eat me."
Yeah.
What I like, you guys have covered the camp, and that's really on point to how I see it as well. Mm-hmm. So I'll go over to like the more Debbie side of things. Mm-hmm. I really liked almost the tragedy of just how wanting Fester was of like a relationship, that he got into what he got into. And which made me love the humor of Debbie being, or whatever the Black Widow's real name is, with her getting so frustrated that he just won't die. He just...
I mean, I think it was definitely an interesting part to it. That was the one part that I thought, I love Christopher Lloyd. I love seeing Christopher Lloyd. I think I wanted a movie where he wasn't where Fester wasn't brainwashed into something or other. Unless that's just what he does. Like, unless that's just Fester's character, is he's always getting brainwashed.
Fester's character, he's more of he's used as a punching bag in these movies, to be honest. And in the animated one we're going to be talking about, Devin, I know that you'll be leading on that one. They kind of lean into more of like the traditional role of Fester, the way he was in the comic strip and a little bit in the show. But for the type of family dynamic that they made for the live action movies, I feel like it kind of works for his character.
It does. I mean, you're not wrong. I appreciated his place in all of it. And I think what it did is it does a good job of giving the Addamses another group or another person or another type of person to butt into. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, even though the first movie was just, describing who the Addams, like, it was a good introduction to the characters. I think really the first movie is an introductory movie. The second one is the fun that they should have had with the character. Yeah. even then, it's a good way to artificially bring in a type of person to butt up against what we know about the Addams family and challenge them in some way. And I like that because you need that kind of character foil.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're definitely not wrong with that. And I think Fester's a good character for it, like just as like a vehicle.
Yeah.
For that kind of stuff.
And that actor's good with that kind of humor. Like, he just fits that role. And Devin, you're gonna like this. Godfather 2, the one character wore a fat suit. I can't remember. Yeah, that's the same fat suit.
No, it's not.
That's the same fat suit.
I really love that.
Wait, who wore a fat suit in Godfather 2?
I'm looking it up. Hold on. So while I'm looking this up, I want you to know that in the middle of this, young Clemenza, Bruno Kirby, wore a fake fat belly underneath his costume to indicate the growing obesity of his character. Played by the hefty Richard S. Castellano in the original.
Okay.
Yeah, that was worn by Fester.
That's amazing. The pedigree of that fat suit is phenomenal, and now I want it as part of my collection.
Yeah.
That's weird that carried through from The Godfather 2 to Addams Family. Because like Addams Family has like this long history of, like, because of the TV show. John Astin played Gomez. Like they mentioned in the chat here. Do you know who John Astin's son is by chance?
No.
Potatoes. Sean Astin.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I love that. I didn't know that.
But then the original Fester from the TV show, whose name I'm going to look up. I can look up here, but I'm not going to. He was the kid in Modern Times with Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, wow.
So like he goes all the way back to like old silent movie Hollywood. So yeah. So that was those are the first two live action films. Real quickly before we get into the animated reboot that came out a few years ago, I want to talk a little bit about Addams Family Reunion.
I didn't know this existed. I want to know all about it.
This was a straight to video 1998 release starring Daryl Hannah from Splash as Morticia Addams.
Interesting.
And Tim Curry as Gomez.
No.
Yeah, it has a 4.0 on IMDb.
Oh.
So Raul Julia passed away. He was suffering from cancer and then suffered a stroke and passed away in 1994. So shortly after this movie was released. And then they wanted Angelica Houston and Christopher Lloyd to come back, and they said no. They had to recast the kids because the kids were getting too old at that point to play the roles. So it's just a whole mess of things that they didn't continue this franchise. But yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm not surprised she didn't want to keep on playing Morticia because she went through torture to be on set because she was wearing so Devin, I see the confusion in your face. Under the dress, okay, she's wearing a metal corset that she can't lay down in.
Oh wow.
Okay. She has, you know how you've seen the Birdcage, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know the stuff that they put under the wigs that like pulls the face back?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she had that on, but it took 3 hours to put on and take off.
Oh my gosh.
So because she needed to get a neck a neck thing done to like stretch her neck down, they had to pull her face back, and it was 3 hours of makeup. So that plus the metal corset, and then in every single scene in both movies, there is a light specifically shined at her eyes to give her that look.
Right there.
She had a migraine by halfway through filming every day. So I can understand why she wouldn't want to do it a third time.
I can tell you right now from the screenshots of Addams Family Reunion, they did not do any of that for Daryl Hannah. let me tell you how bad this movie is. It doesn't even have official publicity shots on IMDb. They're just screenshots from when this aired on JetX. Do you remember that? The Disney Channel? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I will say though, the different lighting for Morticia in these films I really enjoyed. It's a shame that it gave her a migraine though. That sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, she wanted to do the role because they originally wanted Cher to play her.
Oh, weird.
I mean, in the early '90s, I could definitely see Cher pulling this off, but I'm happy she did it instead of Cher. Personally,
I think she killed it. I mean, like I said, I know that she went through a lot for the part, and I appreciate it because I love it. So thank you. So hold on, before we move on to the next bit, Ryan, which one of these two is your favorite? I know you rewatch these every once in a while. Like, do you have a favorite, or is this just one long movie in two parts for you?
I mean, most of the time it's one long movie, but if I had to if I had to pick, I do like the second one more, simply because I like everything at the camp, and nothing makes me laugh harder when it comes to like one of these early 90s comedies than Christina Ricci coming out of that shack and the ability to actually show pain in trying to smile. And then when she does smile, like because of how good she was at playing Wednesday in the first movie and how even better she was in the second one, the way that she smiles when she finally gets that face on, it is legitly creepy.
Yeah, really.
And if you watch that scene and how she pretends to like force the smile on her face, it's great acting, and I love that part because it's hysterical, because it comes after like hearing Sound of Music and Annie and all this other stuff.
You're right. It's so well acted. I really do love that part.
Yeah. So I mean, I love the first one too, but if I really had to put it, it would be the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that does it for the live action Addams Family movies. Let's talk a little bit about 2019's The Addams Family, starring Oscar Isaac. Oh, what?
Can I do that part?
Oh, go for it.
Okay, so we all accidentally watched this together. I wanted to do extra credit and watch it, and apparently Alan watched it too, and then we guilted Ryan into watching it. So the 2019 Addams Family movie, I was vaguely aware of when it came out. Definitely didn't watch it at all until today. And I wanted to do the starring part because holy crap, this cast. So
go for it.
Starring Oscar Isaacs as Gomez Addams, Charlize Theron as Morticia, Chloe Grace Martinez as Wednesday, Finn Wolford from Stranger Things as Pugsley, Nick Kroll as Uncle Fester, Snoop Dogg is It, Bette Midler as Grandma. Who do we have? Martin Short as Grandpa Frump. Like, this freaking cast, man. I didn't know about this until just now.
Yeah,
so
it's insane. And what the shame of it is, like, Oscar Isaac would make a great live action Gomez.
Of course he would.
Like, I don't know why. Like, you look at this cast, like, you look at the two of them, like him and Charlize Theron, like, they should be the live action. They should be live action. Like, they shouldn't be animated. Like, they would work in that role but it's an animated movie. So
it was.
With that stacked cast, gentlemen and gentlemen, what did we think of the 2019 Addams Family movie?
I hope kids like it.
Yeah, not for me.
Nope, hated it.
Are you serious?
Hated it.
I didn't hate it.
Okay.
It's not great. What it does well is it does expand like the kookiness of the Addams Family in a way that you can't really do in live action. Like, you can't really have Pugsley playing with explosives and making it look realistic in live action. You can't have like if you saw Christopher Lloyd shot with an arrow through the head twice, I think that would traumatize some kids. But when it's an animated character voiced by Nick Kroll, you kind of want it to happen. No, it was fine. I like that they got to do some weird stuff with the animation. But yeah, it was just okay.
Look, my thing with it is they gave Pugsley something to do. Pugsley in the other two live action movies, and I was saving this criticism until now, does almost nothing. He's a tag along for Wednesday. You can tell that Christina Ricci got was the popular one, and they're like, right, we have the other kid too. He's the turkey. And like that was it. But like they gave him a plot, which is cool, and I appreciate that.
Okay. The only part that I legitly was like, I really want to show someone this, is the part with Cousin It. And the fact that because I didn't look to see who the voices were, the fact that they digitized Snoop Dogg's voice to be Cousin It completely explains the car.
Yep.
But what I do like is the tie-in between Cousin It's intro music being hip-hop, which it's hip-hop in the Addams Family movies.
Yeah.
When Cousin It makes his appearance in the 1991 film, he's playing hip-hop out of his little three-wheeled bubble car thing that he's driving. And then in this, I mean, it's Drop It Like It's Hot, and he's driving a Snoop Dogg car, which is just... I saw that, and I'm like, whoever this is, I'm going to like it.
I also, in this movie, to find things I liked about it, I also liked Lurch. I really liked the idea that, like, Lurch is this... I mean, he was, I guess, a genius? I don't know. He was reading, like, very advanced books. He played the piano and organ very well. He had a great singing voice. I like that. Give me that kind of Lurch.
Well, the thing is, too, you got to... This Addams Family from this movie is more based on the comic strip than it was the show. So the live action movies are more based on the 1960s Addams Family black and white TV show. This is more based on the actual comic strip. Hence, Wednesday having her pet octopus. The way that the characters looked, and I had to remind myself that a few times, because the one thing that I did not like about this movie, and that I need to go back and read more about the comic strip than what I've had in the past. I like the Addams Family being morbid humans, not quasi monsters, because then things kind of tail off into like the Munsters territory, and the Munsters are good. I like the Munsters. The Munsters should be their own thing. The Addams Family should be their own thing.
Yeah.
Like you've got the Munsters, and then you have a human family living next door that wants to be the Munsters. Like that's who these two families are.
Yeah.
And that's what I really didn't like about this, where like the family comes to town and the one guy's riding a giant spider.
Yeah.
The one guy has flames coming out of his head. Like, I'm fine with this being what it is. If kids like it, I'm happy about it. I want the Addams Family entertainment thing to continue because I think it's a great tool or avenue to get stories across to kids that may like alternative, things. Just like how this movie portrayed, you had this little pleasant, perfect town, like, people who would send their people to that camp in the second movie.
Right.
But then you have the Addams Family, which, like Alan said before, that they're more open. Like, they're kind of like live and let live. Like, you want to, juggle stones for a living? Fine, go juggle stones. I'm over here, sword fighting. It's fine, whatever.
Look, this movie did a thing that I think I'm getting a little bit bored of, and I have to understand that I'm an adult, and I can't. My getting bored of this means nothing to people that make movies and the people these movies are aimed at. But I am sick of this style of animation movie telling me that being unique in myself is the best thing I can be. Don't be like everyone else. The second the little girls in the town were singing the "Why Be Yourself When You Can Be Like Everyone Else" song, I went, I hate this. Stop it. And
I hated that song, yeah.
Good. I get that it's an important message to send to people, especially at a young and oppressible age. Good. I'm 31. Stop giving me that message. I also should stop
watching these movies. Then.
I should stop consuming children's media. Is the real answer to this?
Yeah,
but I won't.
Never. Not for.
It's not me. It's the movie producers who are wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one.
How dare they give you a message that's not meant for you in this movie that you watched?
Exactly.
The one thing that I really didn't like at the start of this, as again a 30-year-old complaining about a kids movie, the one thing I really didn't like about it, and I think this again goes back to the original cartoon, is that Wednesday's braids are in nooses at the end.
Oh no, I thought that was cool.
No. At first, I was like, "Oh, come on!" Because as soon as I saw the octopus, her little pet squid thing, I knew that it was based off the comic strip because that's the one thing that I know.
Yeah.
At least I really hope I'm right on that. That I remember that correctly. But she has that little pet octopus, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, this is based off the comic. That's why this is so weird." And I was like, "Okay, fine, just go with it." And the more the movie went on, the more I was like, I like the nooses at the end of the braids. That's that fits. I didn't. The whole idea of Thing having an eye on.
That was a little weird. Yeah,
that was a little weird. I think it just would have been better given the fact that you had one of the family members showing up riding the back of a tarantula that was the size of a horse. Yeah. I think that they just could have put an eye socket in the wrist and it would have been okay.
Yeah.
But it's an eye watch. Get it?
I didn't get it until now and I hate it.
Get it?
I don't know what I hate more. The fact that they did that in the movie or the fact that Alan said it like that. I don't know which one I hate more.
No, I'm just mad about the movie. Alan pointed out was
So,
did they make an allusion? Oh, go ahead, Alan. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Did they make an allusion in this movie to the first Addams Family movie? Because at the very end, when Fester and evil but not so evil lady were touring houses, they open up one of the houses and he goes, "Oh, you got a typhoon inside," and I'm like, "Oh, is that a reference to the first one when they opened the book?" Or was I totally off base on that?
That was Hurricane Irene. So possibly.
Oh,
I picked up a few because at one point someone meant I think Gomez mentioned summer camp.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I picked up a few things, but we might just be reading into that.
Maybe,
possibly. But at the same time, watching it about halfway through, I was thinking to myself, if Kristen and I had a kid, and they wanted to watch this as and they were young and this is their favorite Addams Family movie, there is enough jokes and humor in it that I can remember that made me think of the other movies that I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
This movie's not bad. If you have kids and they want to watch this, it's not a bad movie to watch with them. It's entertaining. It's just, it's geared for kids.
Yeah.
All of this to say, the reason we're doing all of this is because this film's sequel comes out on Friday.
I'm watching it.
I know I'm going to the movie theater twice this weekend, and neither one of them is to go see this.
Oh no, I'm watching it.
Let me tell you what this movie's about. If you can't tell from the picture on the screen, to reclaim their bond, the family decides to cram Wednesday, Pugsley, Uncle Fester, and crew into their haunted camper and hit the road for one last miserable summer vacation. Their adventure across America takes them out of their element into hilarious run-ins with their iconic cousin It, as well as many new kooky characters. What could possibly go wrong? So, Devin, you got to read off the cast list for the original animated film. Let me list a few of the changes. Oscar Isaac, Charlize Theron, Chloe Grace Moretz, and Nick Kroll all return.
Good.
Pugsley this time is not voiced by Finn Wolfhard. He's voiced by Javon Wana Walton. And then joining the cast are Bill Hader and Wallace Shaw, which, to me, is inconceivable.
That was a really good Wallace Shaw.
It's because I don't have a voice. Yeah, so Finn Wolfhard's out, Bill Hader and Wallace Shaw are in. So I haven't seen anything besides this poster for this movie. But yeah, I'm good for them. I hope it does well.
Yeah.
I think it's probably not going up against a Marvel movie. So,
did you see that he's been casted for possibly the next James Bond?
Who?
Shaw.
Well,
inconceivable.
Did you guys though hear about the Netflix one with Netflix and Tim Burton for the Addams Family?
I was just about to bring that up. Yes, Tim Burton, who I always thought had a hand in the Addams Family movies in the 90s because I was an idiot. Little Alan was stupid. Is directing a series for Netflix called Wednesday, which focuses on Wednesday's adventures at a private school or something. Follows Wednesday Addams' years as a student when she attempts to master her emerging psychic ability, and solve the mystery that embroiled her parents. What?
That was not what I expected. I just saw the cast list and got excited by the cast list.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's talk about the cast list. Jenna Ortega is playing Wednesday Addams. I don't know who she is.
She's a familiar face. I don't know where I've seen her before, but I've seen her in something.
Let's see.
Oh, she's in You. I've seen her in You. She was great in You.
She plays the vice president's daughter in Iron Man 3.
Okay.
Other than that, Luis Guzman is playing Gomez Addams. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Catherine Zeta-Jones is playing Morticia. Also okay with that. 100%. I will watch it based on those two castings alone.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that I loved the plot description of that, but you know, after this week of Addams Family I've had, give me more. I'll take more Addams Family, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, they're just, I don't know what it is about it, but I really like the family dynamic that the Addams family can bring about. Because one of the things that I wanted to kind of talk about has to do with relationship goals and relationship statuses. And I've seen this posted a few times, but not as as heavy as others. And Devin, I know that you're really on certain couple, fantasy couple, couples that people tend to be I'm this person in this relationship and I'm this person in this relationship, and then you're over there going, that's not a good relationship that you want to base yourselves off of. Joker and Harley.
If you want me to hate you, call yourself a Joker Harley Quinn relationship. I'll never talk to you again.
I feel that the Gomez Morticia relationship doesn't get enough love because they honestly care about each other. They are completely open. They are to me, they're the pinnacle of what it should be, and how it can be, particularly about the way that they talk to each other. Hence, in the first movie, where Morticia was you frightened me. You were a wild, howling beast and frightened me. And then he's standing there going is everything okay? And she's do it again.
Yeah, they are relationship goals. They are a strong couple that you can clearly see the love there. Even if it doesn't make sense to you, you can still tell that they're absolutely in love. I really do like that dynamic. And I think that's something that holds up throughout all three of these films.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I like what they represent, because I mean, the Addams Family is meant to be a perversion of the stereotypic American family as portrayed in sitcoms. And one of the funniest, most poignant parts of that is, why don't we just have a husband and wife that actually love each other?
Yeah.
Because I mean, in every like sitcom you get is like, well, big bumbling husband, and I have like a way too attractive wife who kind of hates me. Like,
Well,
ugh.
yeah, and I mean, like, we can dive into that.
Yeah.
You've got That 70s Show. The kids'
Mhm.
parents, they're always at each other's necks with one insult after another. Married with Children, probably the pinnacle of it, of the whole, like bad wife joke or whatever that, is prevalent in all of that. Almost every sitcom you can think of has the married couple at each other's throats.
Yeah.
And the few shows that ever kind of were more based on reality are the ones that I feel like people don't really talk about, like Mad About You, if I got the name of that one right. Not sure if you guys remember that one, but the most famous scene is when the wife comes out of the bathroom and she holds the paper towel roll and the thing that the roll goes on, and she just puts them together and then storms out of the living room, and the husband's there reading the newspaper and just goes, not going to forget that again, and then he goes back to reading. Like, it's more real life stuff.
Yeah.
Or at least the first few seasons, where I don't remember anything really past that. But
I mean, the whole sitcom husband trope has been picked apart a lot recently. There's a whole show on AMC called Kevin Can F Himself.
That's
based on the whole thing that happened with Kevin James's last sitcom, where he didn't get along with his sitcom wife, so they wrote her off. They killed her off on the show and brought in his old sitcom wife to take her spot.
Ew, really?
Yeah.
Ew.
That's a thing that happened. Like, yeah, it's messed up. Like, I don't watch Kevin. I didn't watch Kevin Can Wait, but I really want to see Kevin Can F Himself, because it's got
I would love to see that.
Andy Murphy from Schitt's Creek on there. I really want to watch that. So,
I mean, I don't like any of the stereotypes that portrays. Like, I don't like the idea of the idiot husband. I don't like the idea of the dutiful and awkwardly, like, overly accepting, but like also way too attractive for him wife. I don't like the idea of like the son that does all the sports.
I'm trying to think of a sitcom that, like, I don't know if there is a sitcom in my top 5 that is that standard sitcom dynamic, because if you look at something like How I Met Your Mother, like, you have Marshall and Lily on there, but they're not like at each other's throats. For the most part, like, they do have those seasons where they're not together, but like when they are, it's not like that. Like, it's not that kind of dynamic. Like, they have a healthy relationship, and like, I don't think there's many, like, I don't know if I really watch that many family sitcoms that have that, at least modernly.
I feel like The Simpsons
stay
is
away
almost
from
that.
it.
I feel like animated runs into that a little bit. Like, and it always sets it up as the husband's the goofy one, and the wife someone has to straight man him, and the wife ends up being the straight man, and like, it's so easy to build into a family dynamic like that it almost feels lazy.
Well, and like, you look at The Simpsons and Family Guy, they're still making fun of that archetype from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. Like Family Guy is on its 20th year. Like, they've been doing this just as long as
they're still on the air.
They're still on the air. Yeah.
I'm so happy I cut the cord for cable 10 years ago.
Oh, they stream. Don't worry.
Yeah, you still got Hulu.
It's whatever. Fine. As long as that's what Kristen and I spent a lot of time talking about back in like 2011. 10 years ago. Like, do we really need cable? Like, do we really need it? And we had the conversation. Like, at that point, 2011. Okay, got Netflix. Hulu was just starting to become a thing, and all of the sports I watched, they had their own streaming services. So we're like, we don't watch any of this other stuff. It's like there was literally no show that either one of us was trying to get home to see.
Yeah.
And at that point, we were like, "Yeah, let's just do it." So I've been out of the loop on all that.
All right, in the chat, I just want to bring this up quick. Happy couples aren't going to be disgusted by unhappy couples, but the reverse may be true.
Fair.
Um,
No, I think fair. I
Yeah.
think it's a good point. I think that if you show a happy couple and you're in a bad one, I think that it makes you question what's going on in your life more than a funny TV show once. Because that's not the point of the TV show. The point of the TV show is, like, let's show X, Y, or Z character be funny, do the thing, do the dramatic, whatever. They're not like, it's not supposed to be a reflection on the audience. So maybe that's it. Like, maybe that's why it happens. I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks, chat.
Yeah.
So then if you run into someone and they list a bunch of shows as their favorite, is that kind of like a flag of like
no, but it might actually start being now.
Like not a flag about, like not a red flag about that person, but just like that ring might disappear in 5 years.
I'll call it an orange flag about their personal choices.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Anything else on the Addams Family before we wrap this up?
I have one thing, and
Yes.
I think this is a common thread between all three of the movies, and fight me if I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong. I think a rule of an Addams Family movie is that the song that plays over the credits has to be terrible. In all three of these movies, the song that plays over the credits was awful.
I hate you right off the bat. There's nothing wrong with any type of early 90s hip-hop as long as it's done by an actual artist.
Were any of these done by an actual artist?
Yes. The Addams Family hip-hop, look it up.
Okay, hold on.
It's not called the Addams Family hip-hop. It's called something else. But I'm just saying, like, the credits, like, the Addams Family, and, like, it's the actual, like, a hip-hop song from, like, the early 90s.
Was it MC Hammer?
Yeah, it's MC Hammer.
Early 90s, that's all I got to say. It's legit. He's a legit artist in 1991, 1993.
Devin, don't laugh at that. You know how he went bankrupt?
No, how?
No, like he had money at one point. He lost it all. He lost his Addams Family money. Doesn't that make it even funnier?
A little bit, yeah. Wow.
So then, as soon as I heard the hip hop song at the end of the, this new one, the animated one, I was like, oh, it's tie into the older movies.
I mean, fair.
And that's new age hip hop. Like that's what rap is now.
Hold on.
Like if you listen
Addams Family Groove is a single performed by hip hop artist Hammer that was released as the theme song to the 1991 film The Addams Family. The song was his last top 10 hit. It was a top 10 hit in the United States and was the recipient of the Golden Raspberry Award for the worst original song at the 12th Golden Raspberries in 1991. I don't care. It's not a good song.
I'm just saying like that.
I'm going to give you the information on the sequel one. Addams Family Whoop. Performed by Tag Team.
Yes, another legit group.
Oh no. Okay, so then who is 2019 then? Oh, Snoop Dogg helped out with oh no. It was another one. It's Rock Mafia, Snoop Dogg, Migos, and Karl G. Those are real.
Like, all right. I'm telling you right. Like, I'm telling you right now how goofy these are to you. Okay, is how, to be honest, Scott Pilgrim, the music in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
It's like there's a few songs in it that are good. Okay, that they do, but the majority of it sounds to me like this stuff does to you. It's fair. Because it's movie, like it's fake movie music stuff that's supposed to be like edgy and like in like a subgenre type stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay. Here's my point of comparison, because I know you guys are going to do this soon. Is this better or worse than the Eminem song Venom at the end of the movie Venom?
You know what? I'll just give you this answer. Give me Peter Gabriel at the end of it. And
go to hell. But you have to watch this podcast. I'm Alec. No.
If you're going to complain this much about hip-hop, I'll go right to Peter Gabriel.
I don't think he's complaining that it's hip-hop. I think he's complaining that it's cheesy hip-hop.
No. I know. But see, you got to understand, like, if you listen to a lot of what became mainstream hip-hop hits in the the very late 80s, like early 90s, it all sounds cheesy. And then when you go to listen to like the actual songs on those albums, that's when you get into like now I kind of understand why suburban moms were so upset about their children listening to this stuff, because that's where like it was a total flip of like what the lyric content was and what the sound was. And to be honest, Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah.
Okay. The intro to Aqua Teen Hunger Force sounds more like what the majority of hip hop made in the 90s was.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then you've got, like, this is how we do it, making like top 10s because, Suburban Moms was fine with that song. She wasn't fine with track 10, but she was fine with that one.
I just really like the idea that you set up of like Addams Family Values is the gateway to hardcore hip hop in the 90s. That's it's the gateway drug.
Like,
and now the gateway drug is Snoop Dogg.
Was always Snoop Dogg is a walking is a walking gateway drug.
Yeah. Okay. I think that does it for the Addams Family. I think Devin kind of gave it away, but next week, Ryan and I will be reviewing Venom: Let There Be Carnage. That is the film that I am going to go see twice this weekend and not see Addams Family 2 once. So join us here next Tuesday for that. Devin will not be joining us. He will be off getting married in Paris.
Will.
So good luck to you, Devin. Wish we could be there, but somebody has to hold the fort down while you're gone.
You're doing God's work, gentlemen.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
are. Congratulations to you and Romana. Hope you guys have a great wedding. It's been a long time coming.
Really though, really.
Yeah. So congratulations to you. Enjoy your time off.
Thank you.
Ryan, I'm going to torture you by making you go see Venom 2.
And then Devin, everything that Alan said about the wedding, yes, same here.
Oh, good.
So,
Yes.
It's not just Alan going, Devin, congratulations, and then we get to Ryan, like, okay, everybody, see you later.
Yeah.
Daddy.
Enjoy your time in Paris. For everyone watching at home, though, you can join us here next Tuesday at the same time. I don't know. We don't have to worry about somebody in Europe, so maybe we'll change the time up. To know for sure, like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. We'll let you know what time we're going live next week there. You can also follow us here on Twitch if you're watching us live. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch up on older shows and to catch us live over there. You can listen to our podcast on all major podcasting platforms. And until next time, where hopefully I have my voice back, for you have to watch this podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Devin.
And like a turd in the wind, we'll see you next week for Venom.
Oh God.
That's a line in Venom 1, guys. I don't know if you're.
Is.
Yeah,
I try to forget it.
I'm gonna have to go rewatch that now. So, bye.